So our next speaker is the CEO and founder of SM Diversity, a company that connects companies with a diverse range of professionals for employment. He is also a Seattleite, also familiar with ways of the area, and the self-proclaimed Tupac of diversity. Please help me welcome to the stage, Stephen Matley.
Wow, I'm so grateful to be here on this stage at TEDx in front of you all to share ideas, and hopefully this one's worth spreading. As Barrett introduced me as Stephen Matley, what better stage but this one, and for the first time publicly to announce my legal name. Muhammad Matley. Yeah, that's my legal name. It's the second, or actually at one point, the most common name in the world, with over 150 million boys and men that bear that name. The name Muhammad is actually considered by Muslim people the prophet of Islam and a messenger of God. So it's a very popular name. But why did I change it to Stephen? You see, my mother and father divorced when I was 2 years old. And I guess to my mother, rightfully so, everything about my father she hated, including his religion. See, my father was Laotian, Indonesian, Muslim. My mother was Laotian, Buddhist. Can you imagine the conversations their families had, or in our household? Well, everything that was associated to my father, my name, my religion, I was ashamed, embarrassed, and ashamed of my own identity. And so, around the 3rd or 4th grade, I was encouraged to change my name. And one day I saw on the screen Steve Largent mentioned. And I said, that sounds like a good name. And so ever since the 3rd or 4th grade, I've been running with Stephen Matley. You see, in my own household, at a young, early age, I realized, wow, good people, my mom, taught me how to hate, taught me how to be biased. See, her bias was more implicit, she was more prejudiced about it, because of all the things that she was culturally exposed to and this resentment that she had about a certain group that she didn't know. I'm here to tell you that the good people in your lives, your mama, your papa, your granddad, your grandma, your football team, your coach, your friends, the groups that you hang out with, your colleagues, your classmates, we're all biased. And what I mean by that is, psychologists came out with this implicit association test that's been around for 20 years, and 14 million people have taken it. And one of the things that they found is that we tend to favor white and associate it with good. Able versus disabled. We, culturally, as a society, prefer young over old, unconsciously. And so I know hate is a strong word, but there are cousins of hate, and there's a pyramid to it, and it shows up in different subtle ways. One of the ways is groupthink. We tend to favor people that think like us, that act like us. And I heard once, they said, when we all think alike, well, no one's thinking. You see, our society has created where we have to assimilate. We should not disagree, and we tend to favor those that agree with us. And anyone that is in disagreement or in dissent or present new information that is not of conformity, unity with the group, we tend to put them out on an out-group. And so we have an in-group, out-group bias. We like to favor those that think like us. And so what happens is we tend to not accept new information. Some of the things that we see in society, how this plays out, is in a crash test dummy. That's so weird when I first researched this. It didn't start until 2010 that we started having mandatory female crash test dummies. So what that means is the ladies, females that are here, well, what we found was that in accidents compared to the average American male, you were 47% more likely at risk to snap your neck upon accident. Up to 71%. You're thinking, this is a no-brainer. Why wouldn't they make female crash test dummies and tests? So ever since the 1930s, we've been building cars for the average American male. This is a clear example when we fail to include or fail to consider suggestions from regulators to change the way we think. And so until the last 7 years, we've started doing this, and this is what we found. So it is a matter of life and death that the cousins of hate can show up, and good people could show signs of prejudice and stereotypes and discrimination. You see, it's even showing up in our football. In 2003, the NFL instituted a Rooney Rule after Dan Rooney of the Pittsburgh Steelers. At that time, there was only one non-white head coach. What they found was over the next 8 years, when they instituted the rule, that they had 8 head coaches. And I think in 2017, we're up to about 7. What it basically means is not special privileges. It's about intentionality. You see, inclusivity is the path towards participation success. I'll say that again. Inclusivity is the path towards participation success. When we don't consciously include, we will unconsciously exclude. And so, isn't football that much more beautiful with the diversity that we have today? Here's why this is important, and why I thought that this was the best idea to share on the stage. Millennials, the ones that will make up about 75% of the workforce by 2025, you have shown that this is important to you. See, millennials believe that a workforce that is cultivating a collaborative environment where different perspectives and ideas are shared, that is how you're able to drive innovation, more creative products, different processes, including other ideas, aside from just assimilating ones into our group. 60, 70, even 80% of job seekers have said in surveys that they care about a diverse workforce when they're looking at jobs. So I know you're probably saying, well, it's easy as, well, if we see something, we just say something, right, Steve? Well, it's not that easy, you see. Because psychological safety is something that we don't always have in our workplaces and in the groups. It's not that we're scared to say our real name or who we are. We just don't know if it's safe yet to come out. You see, psychological safety, unlike physical safety, is where we allow people to bring their ideas, their thoughts, their feedback, and they're not scared to share those. They're not reluctant to give out information to the in-group or the out-groups. Here's what happens when you don't have psychological safety. Today, in the workforce, there's 70%, if not more now, disengaged. What do I mean by that? People are checked out. They're unhappy. I show up, I clock out. I always work overtime. But that doesn't mean that I'm happy, accepted, or feeling like I belong. Vernon Myers on a TED Talk said, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. At a recent Hack Diversity Inclusion workshop, somebody said, when the DJ plays your song, you know you belong. And I said, Tupac, baby. You see, what happens when we, as an organization, learn to create a more psychological safe place for people to bring their ideas in the knowledge workforce today? There's been studies that have shown that a gender diverse workplace are going to outperform their industry peers by 15%. That's bottom line dollars. And if you have a ethnically diverse workforce, it shoots up to about 35% of your industry peers. So I say all that, and I talk about the benefits, and I know it's sometimes, some guilt that we feel. I feel it too sometimes. But I'm not here to make y'all feel guilty. I'm here to make y'all aware and We have these mountains to climb. Why do we climb them? I was driving one day in San Diego and I asked my brother-in-law, I said, hey, does Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk know something we don't? Is this going to be like the new wall that we have to climb to get over to Mars and Saturn? Well, he said, Steve, for as long as mountains have been around, we climb them. You see, I'm talking about these things, about the disengaged workforce, the psychological safety, the biases that we all have. Because we're going to need to tackle these to climb the mountains together. Can't do this alone. Will Smith said it best on the top. He said, success is on the other side of here and here. And I believe that you, the driving workforce, have the ability to be aware, to change the narrative, to speak up when you see something, to create a more psychological safe place for others that don't look like you, that don't think like you, to be invited to the conversation. And so I talk about the roads that grew from concrete. You see, growing up in the hood, not having a lot of resources, a lot of role models, Tupac was one of mine. He said, I can't guarantee you or promise you that I will rule or change the world. But I guarantee you that I will spark the line that does. I'm one of those minds that Tupac Shakur, at a young age, sparked. And you know, Tupac Shakur may be labeled a certain way by certain individuals. But let me tell you, Tupac has sold over 75 million records worldwide. He's sparking minds all around the world. His words are being studied in private Ivy League schools. He's recently inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And this hits home for me, this poem that he wrote called The Roads That Grew from Concrete. And I want to challenge you all when you leave here today is, are we being intentional about including people that don't think like us, that don't look like us, that maybe offer information that are not in our favor? Is there somebody that we could be a resource, a role model, a mentor to help climb these mountains together? Because it helped this high school dropout get a Cornell University. It helped this guy that slept on the couch have a panoramic Lakeview home. It helped this guy who didn't have a father figure in his life to raise 2 kids and be the best father that I've ever had. You see, the roads that grew from concrete. Did you hear about that roads that grew in the crack in the concrete, proving nature's laws wrong and learn to walk without having feet? Funny as it seems, but by keeping to the streams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the roads that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared. Thank you.